authority.
All right. Good evening. Calling the April 3rd monthly meeting of the school board to order. Ms. Hastings, will you please take the roll?
Sure. Ms. Walsh?
Here.
Ms. Higgins?
Here.
Mr. Cotton?
Here.
Ms. Robinson?
Here.
Ms. Meeker?
Here.
Mr. Croto?
Here.
And I am here, and board member Jonathan Weinberg is coming after his appointment, so he'll be here a little bit late today.
We have 7 members and have a quorum.
Yes.
Next item is the approval of the agenda. Does anyone have any changes that they would like to make to the agenda? If not, I will take a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Ms. Robinson moved.
Second.
Is there a second? Mr. Cotton, thank you. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, great. Item number 3 is the consent agenda, which includes the minutes from last month's meetings, as well as the minutes from the February 22nd and March budget meetings. Does anyone have any changes? I will take a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Ms. Hastings moves. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Croto seconds. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Next item is celebrations, and I will turn it over to Superintendent Murphy to introduce our celebrations.
That's part of the meeting
Yeah.
for us. And so tonight, we have a group from Broken Ground School, and I think their principal, Mrs. Losey, will introduce them and get the group started.
Please come up. Come on up.
Have a chair, please. So tonight we have, thank you so much for having us. These are some of the members of our technology committee. They're 5th grade students. I'm going to let them introduce themselves. And we also have Mrs. Folds, who's our digital learning specialist. So they're going to talk a little bit about why they applied to become members of the technology committee and some of the jobs that they do.
My name is Jack, and I wanted to join the tech committee because it's a great chance to make new friends, and I enjoy working behind the scenes and helping edit videos.
My name is Cedric, and I joined the tech committee because of the hard work that the people last year put into this, so I want to do hard work for the people this year. Another job of our committee is to help edit the videos.
My name is Nicole, and I wanted to join the tech committee to gain cooperation and editing skills, and also to meet new people.
Jack, do you want to talk a little bit about some of the things that you do?
On the tech committee, we help with taking the video of the all-school meetings for Broken Ground and Millbrook School. All-school meetings are when our whole school gathers to discuss upcoming things like themes for the month, celebrating birthdays, and sharing special projects in our school.
A job for the tech committee is like presentations and on the BGS newscast videos that we show on the display screen at the entrance of our school.
The tech committee also does special projects, like making math videos that we wanted to tell you about tonight.
So this project that we are coming to talk with you about was really to help our kids with math, and so we used some Title I funds to purchase lots of math games. They're going to tell you about that.
We would like to tell you about our new math library and math videos we have made. Each week, students may sign out a math game from their grade level library to take home.
We made the math videos to help families know how to play the games. The math videos are sent to every family so students and their families can play them at home. This gives kids a great way to practice their math skills away from school. We worked with our math coach, Miss Oliveira, to learn how to play the games, and then we worked with Miss Folds to record and edit the videos.
The VGS Tech Committee decided to add closed captions, and we're currently working on translating the videos into different languages so families who speak another language at home can also enjoy them.
Did you have fun making those?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We also came up with the idea to present the games in person so families can understand the videos better.
We hope you enjoy this video of the math game Odd Squad.
Yeah, so I think I wrote a 28.
Hold up. Can we please play?
Sure. Thank you. Do you know how to play? No? Okay, so you
There you
can
go.
use whiteboard or you can use graph paper.
So we roll the dice, and if it's an even, we leave it like the same number.
Or if it's odd, you multiply it by 10.
Like
And then
this.
after, when you get both of your numbers, you multiply them both.
So this is an odd and this is an even. The even stays the same as before.
So you would do 5 times 10, which is 50. So then 50 times 4, which is 200. And then you would write that down on your board. And when you have 5 numbers on your board, you add them all up, and then whoever has the highest number wins. So that would be 10, and that would be 30? Yeah.
Yeah.
So 30 times 10. So there's left. Hi, more than
After you finish rolling it like 5 times. 5 times, yeah. You add them up.
So whoever has the highest score out of all of them wins.
Yeah.
So I got 3,542.
I got 3,235.
I got 4,362. I got 4,300. So Brendan wins.
And the winner is
Great job, you guys. That was so good.
You are in the best moment.
So kids can use a QR code just to go on and to find out how to play the games when they have them at home. So we're still working on getting them in other languages, which will help, but it's been a great project. And the idea about changing it in the languages and having captions came all from the students, which was wonderful.
Nice.
Anyone have any questions for our students? How many,
BGS.
how many languages are you hoping to put them in?
Have you talked about that yet?
No.
No, but I think a reasonable amount of languages is like 20.
All right. Well, we can't wait to see that presentation.
Thankfully, that's an even number. You don't have to multiply by 10.
Enough languages for everyone.
Well, thank you so much. We appreciate your time tonight because we know you have a busy night, so.
Thank you guys.
Thank
Great
you
job.
very much.
Thank you, guys.
Well
Thanks so
done.
much.
Thanks, y'all.
Just trying to figure
Not to say that it's the second best part of the meeting, but they run a close first and second here as we take time tonight, and the principals will join us to celebrate champions in the school district that are the champions for children. And we can't do the work every day without these folks stepping up, lending a hand, always going the extra mile to support our teachers as well as our students and families. So it's really kind of a joyous evening to be able to celebrate their work in our schools. So I'd like to kick it off with Mrs. Scapardi from Millbrook to begin tonight's ceremony.
It is my pleasure to introduce Cassie Cameron as the Millbrook 2023 Champion for Children. Cassie truly embodies the spirit of a champion for children, supporting students at Millbrook School in many ways. Cassie joined the Millbrook community in 2019 when her daughter started kindergarten. She immediately looked for ways to get involved and joined the PTA that fall. Since that time, Cassie has been part of our community as a parent, a volunteer, and in various roles in the PTA. Cassie is always looking for ways to support learning in students. She volunteers to organize PTA events that are child-centered and focused on fun. Cassie will plan creative projects and activities to include all students. She has planned and organized events like the Millbrook Mile, Parents' Night Out, and the Millbrook Walkathon. At these events, she takes time to connect with families and students. She also supports teaching and learning throughout the building, spending time preparing materials for direct instruction. This year alone, she made all the wall words for 1st and 2nd grade, which is 13 classes, and a lot of cutting, if you know what that project is. Cassie is also a huge supporter of the Millbrook Food Bank. She travels to Manchester a few times a month to pick up food at the New Hampshire Food Bank and brings the food back to school for distribution. Without her help, we would not be able to run our food pantry. Cassie is giving, selfless with her time and energy, and always finds ways to support the students and staff at Millbrook School. On behalf of the students, staff, and families of Millbrook School, we would like to honor and thank Cassie for her ongoing dedication and support of our students. She has been and continues to be a champion for many children in our community. Congratulations and thank you, Cassie.
It is with great pleasure that we nominate Shannon Lockwood as Beaver Meadow School's 2023 Champion of Children. Shannon has dedicated countless hours of her time over the last 7 years volunteering to enrich the quality of our students, our staff, and our school community's lives. Anyone who knows Shannon knows that her dedication to Beaver Meadow School is extraordinary. Everywhere she goes, her smile and willingness to help others is inspiring. Her love for our school is contagious. Since 2016, Shannon has served on our PTO's executive board as our secretary. As many of you know, traditions are strong at Beaver Meadow School. Our volunteers and staff make sure what matters to us continues. Shannon's commitment to family engagement events have provided our school with opportunities to thrive, to connect, and have a good time, and see ourselves as part of something special. Shannon has either chaired or co-chaired our annual spaghetti dinner, our walkathon, movie night, kid shop, friendship day, our color run, family picnics, and our teacher appreciation week. She has been involved in the infamous holiday craft fair as our lead volunteer at the food table, and her ability to sell hot dogs and pizza while making sure all of the crock pots do not blow any fuses is noteworthy. It cannot go without saying that our annual theme dance is a favorite event for all. Over the years, Shannon has picked a family fun theme. She then goes out to work like an elf from Santa's shop and transforms our gymnasium into Candyland, into a tropical island, and this year we went back in time to a sock hop. We were pink ladies Friday night. She kept this tradition alive even during COVID, as she planned our very first virtual dance. Shannon is that person who shows up on a hot day in June before summer break with over 400 popsicles for the students and the staff just to cool off. Over the years, more people than I can count have said to me, when I walk into Beaver Meadow School, they can feel how special it is. And they say that. This place feels special. What makes our school so special, even magical at times, are the people who make a difference. Shannon Lockwood is one of those people. And one of the reasons why our school is a magical place to learn. It is my honor and pure delight to recognize Shannon Lockwood tonight. This so deserving honor, as it is without a doubt, she makes everyone's lives at Beaver Meadow School better.
I'd like to bring Mrs. Losey back from Broken Ground, if she would.
I've helped with the flowers tonight. So it's my pleasure to, she's gone. It's my pleasure to introduce the Broken Ground School champion for children for 2022-23, Jocelyn Jerry Wolcott. Connections, connections, connections. For Jocelyn, it's all about having that one trusted adult in your life. Since the spring of 22, Jocelyn, a retired school counselor from Concord High School, who was trained as a social worker, started volunteering at BGS in grade 3 classrooms. This year, Jocelyn has volunteered in Mrs. Neidhart's 3rd grade class almost every day from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. She enters the school with a smile, lighting up with enthusiasm for students, learning, special activities, field trips, and making a difference in our community. Jocelyn exudes positive energy and caring wherever she goes. She has made it a point to get to know every student in the class. She knows about their families and what activities they enjoy, their special interests, and their talents. Jocelyn is genuinely interested in the families and their backgrounds, and she shows compassion and caring for everyone. During academic times in the class, she's an amazing coach, supporting students to persevere and to take risks. At recess and lunch and other more social times, she's been a role model, helping them to negotiate friendships and learning to play together cooperatively. Looking outside at recess, you'll see Jocelyn playing basketball with one group or teaching another group double Dutch jump rope. Jocelyn's always encouraging students to move and to have fun. She also always carries a deck of cards for a quick game whenever you might want to have one. Jocelyn joins the class in the cafeteria during lunch, encouraging students to foster their friendships. Every day, Jocelyn comes to Broken Ground School because she loves being with children. Her legacy is one of making every child and student feel listened to and important for who they are. Her presence, her spirit, and her genuine caring for others are inspirational and have made her a true champion for children in our community. On behalf of everyone at Broken Ground School, we thank you for everything you do, and especially for the love you give our students. Thank you so much.
Continuing on, I invite the principal from Abbott Down, Ms. Flynn.
I'm going to introduce our friends in just a minute. But the star of the show tonight is Abbott Downing's 2023 Champion of Children, Diane Grammy Wells. She goes by Grammy all the time, so if you hear me say that a few times, that's what she prefers to be called. So she's part of the Friends program as a retired senior volunteer. She has put in 15 years of volunteering. That's over 27,000 hours of volunteer time. 14 of those 15 years have been at Abbott Downing on a fairly regular basis. So if you calculate her volunteerism, if you were basing it on a 7-hour day, over 3,800 days of volunteerism for Diane. So no tears, because we'll both go down. The best part about Grammy is that when we go on school vacation, she doesn't. She goes over to the Merrimack Valley Daycare and continues to volunteer until we get back in session and then comes back. One of my personal favorite stories is we did have Grammy may have needed to leave Abbott Downing to go to the Concord Hospital at one point. And as she's going into the ambulance for care, she looks at me and says, "Mr. Blinn, if I get cleared, can I come back today?" So personally, it's one of my favorite stories about Diane, because I think as funny as we laugh, as much as we laugh about that, it's a true testament about her work ethic and her volunteerism to our school community. And before I introduce our friends tonight, I just wanted to mention a couple of things that 3 of our classroom teachers had shared with me prior to tonight. Mrs. Mino, kindergarten teacher, is with us tonight. That's where Grammy spends a good chunk of her time, is in kindergarten. A piece of what she wrote: she brings a warm smile, sunny personality of the classroom. The students come to her for words of encouragement or assistance with the classroom work. She is a favorite storytime reader. Mrs. Bozek, one of our 3rd grade teachers, she always wants what is best for each student and is quick to notice when a child may need a little extra TLC, offering them a hug or a one-on-one conversation. Mrs. Leday, who's here with us tonight, with her beautiful smile, Grammy is not only there for children, but for the staff as well, giving out hugs and always willing to encourage others to feel their best. Just the other day I looked over, Grammy was reading with a student, and her words of affirmation made this student shine. So now I'm going to turn it over to my 3 3rd grade friends from Abbott Downing, who are going to introduce themselves with their first name, and they want to share a few words about Grammy.
My name is Jillian, and congratulations. My name is Sarah, and you're a good influence to kindergarten. My name is Shane. Thank you for being at Abbott Downing. Hi, I'm Hannah.
So on behalf of the kids and the staff and the families at Abbott Downing, Grammy, you are our 2023 Abbott Downing Champions for Children.
Compassionate, intelligent, generous, caring, kind, and personable are the characteristics that immediately come to mind about our champion for children at CMS, Jennifer Thompson. Jen became part of our Christa McAuliffe School family last year when her son entered kindergarten. From day one, Jen worked collaboratively with her son's kindergarten teacher, Mrs. Holliday, and with all the staff at CMS to ensure that her son integrated successfully into elementary school. She asked important questions about what he would learn, how he would learn it, how she could support him at home, and how she could support all the staff in their work. Jen and Mrs. Holliday quickly developed a wonderful relationship, and they learned a great deal from one another about teaching, learning, and life. When Mrs. Holliday shared her cancer diagnosis last year, Jen and many parents immediately led efforts to support her through fundraisers, helping in her classroom, and donating their time whenever needed. From that point on, Jen could be seen at CMS pretty much on a daily basis. She may have claimed that she was there to stop in as part of her role on the PTO, but I suspect that her main goal was to check in on Mrs. Holliday and inquire about what she needed in her day. As her son moved to first grade this year, Jen continued with her monumental support and love. Her son's current teacher, Mrs. Noyes, notes that first and foremost, Jen is the most giving person. She is the first person to respond to teachers' requests for special items. She brings in class snacks and wipes and tissues. She sends in donations for the book fair for classroom libraries. She creates matching t-shirts for staff and her son on special school days like the 100th day of school. In December, Jen donated her time in Mrs. Noyes' classroom to teach the class about her family's holiday traditions. They read a book together about Hanukkah, sampled latkes and jelly donuts, and received Hanukkah gelt to play the dreidel game. In addition to donating time to the classroom, Jen enjoys supporting the whole school community. She comes in early to bring gifts for staff, like flowers to brighten their day. She thanks individuals in person and writes numerous thank you notes to share her gratitude for big and small efforts, for attending events, and for working with her son. She coordinates and works during numerous PTO events during after school and evening hours, and sometimes she's even popping our popcorn on Popcorn Fridays. I'm pretty sure that Jen is a permanent member of our staff at this point, and I wouldn't be surprised if we started building her an office soon. But in all seriousness, Jen reminds us all about what is truly important: generosity, civility, community, and love for one another. Jen and her son visited Mrs. Holliday while she was in hospice care. Shortly after that, I had the opportunity to ask Mrs. Holliday for her thoughts about nominating Jen as our champion. She smiled and said, "Jennifer has been wonderful about bringing activities for my children to do while they've been here with me. She's a champion even for my children." The Krista McAuliffe staff is proud to congratulate Jennifer Thompson. Thank you for being our special champion for children. It's a well-deserved honor.
Okay, good evening, everyone. It is an honor to have nominated Sue Farrelly for our 2023 Runlet Middle School Champion for Children nominee. Some of you probably already know Sue. Sue has been working in the Concord School District for many years in a variety of roles. She's currently our 21C coordinator and so much more. When the time came for us to nominate someone for this award, someone who embodies through action the beliefs in the NHSAA Champions for Children policy, there was not a minute's hesitation. We knew we had to nominate Sue. She was a logical choice, and after reading or hearing this, we think you'll agree. Sue is a tireless advocate for all of our children and their families. Yes, she's an employee of our district, but it is the work that she does way above and beyond. her role that makes her stand out. And here are some of the things that we would like to share with you about Sue. She is a volunteer member of our MTSS Universal team. This means that she attends monthly meetings at 7:30, way before she has to be in the building. Sue is always conscious and mindful of the importance of student voice and perspective, which is especially important in middle school. As a member of our MTSS Universal team, she is always present at the meeting, putting ideas on the table and keeping students at the center of all of her work. She is driven to make things happen and is always looking for new ideas and enriching programs and activities. Since Sue's office is now at RMS, we get to see her a lot more during the day. This has worked to our advantage. When she sees we are short-staffed, she volunteers to jump in and help us out by substituting and covering lunches, usually without us even having to ask. We see Sue as a real problem solver. She never stops considering different possibilities. If something comes up, she's always willing to step in and brainstorm what we can do to resolve the issue. And this is beyond, way beyond 21C. She will look for creative ways that the 21C programming may support school efforts. She also goes above and beyond to learn about individual students and their unique needs. She volunteers at other school events such as dances and our multicultural fair. She has served on multiple hiring committees, and she is a resource to parents, often reaching out to extend kind words and offer support. Just today, a parent raved about Sue's leadership in our 21C program. Regardless of what you are speaking to Sue about, you can always expect an open mind, flexible thinking, and a great sense of humor. And again, back to the point about student voice, we're currently exploring our schedule, any changes we want to make, and Sue is on our listserv, and there was this email from Sue, has anyone asked the kids? So that's one of the things that we really love, is she always helps remind us to bring it back to the kids. As I said earlier, she's worked for many years in different capacities within the district, and what has always remained true is her dedication to helping students be heard, engaged, and successful. We're so fortunate to have someone who goes above and beyond to help some of our most vulnerable populations of students. Sue Farrelly, you are the embodiment of a champion for children.
Introduced by our new incoming principal, Dr. Herbert. How quickly Mr. Reardon passed the baton.
All right, thank you. It is with great pleasure that I'm here tonight on behalf of the Concord High School community in nomination of Maureen Cloutier for Concord High School's Champion for Children. Maureen has been a robotics volunteer for over 5 years now. During this time, she performed duties such as scheduling club meetings, overseeing work sessions, creating team schedules, filling out paperwork to compete in tournaments, organizing team events to show off the work of all the students. Maureen has been instrumental in assisting the team in recruiting, advocating not only at CHS, but for student involvement in the lower grades at the middle school level and elementary school level. They seek to spark student interest in the STEM field of studies in hopes to generate interest in the club. Beyond her love for STEM education and robotics, Maureen is very much the team mother. She coordinates She coordinates practice times, work sessions, departures, arrivals, and competition schedules, which require communication with various building administrators, staff on weekdays or weekends. Both of those pose their own challenges, as Matt can attest to. Scheduling door openings, staff on hand to make sure they have access to what they need. Maureen's the person behind the scene doing that. She ensures that 20-plus families have almost daily communication of the practice tournament schedules and understanding of what goes on into fabricating a robot and competing. She has found several volunteers that donate their time to teach students on how to use tools, program robots, and construct practice fields. Any given afternoon, you can walk through Concord High School Common D Learning Commons area and the robotics lab, and you'll see Ms. Cloutier sharing in laughs, helping students, watching videos on their upcoming competition, or putting out a spread of snacks for the students. She, like any great teen mom, reminds students to clean up, put the furniture back the way they found it, take care of all their tools. It is the little things that Ms. Cloutier does behind the scenes that makes this team operate at a high level. I'm very excited on behalf of the Concord High School community to present this year's CHS Champion for Children's, Maureen Cloutier.
Thank you so much to all our wonderful champions and to the Broken Ground students for your great presentation. I think we'll take a 2-minute break to let you exit unless you want to stay for the rest of the meeting. We are deciding the last day of school tonight, so if you're interested.
Thank you all for coming.
Thank you. Reports. Superintendent, are we starting with the students?
Always first.
All right, Finn and Sophia, you're on.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Quarter 4 is almost here, and as we get closer to the end of the school year, a lot of things are going to be happening for the seniors, and that includes the prom, the senior trip, and the senior t-shirts, and all of these are part of the senior package, which you can purchase as a bundle, or you can buy those things individually, or not buy them at all if you don't want to. And I would encourage people who haven't bought yet to buy this week, because the price will be increasing on Friday, and the deadline is April 19th. Ms. Slam has sent out this information a lot of times, but I don't think everyone's done it yet. So if you know any seniors.
Happy April. So with April comes spring, and spring sports are officially underway. Most teams have their first game or meet this week. The SATs were a couple weeks ago, and juniors are definitely relieved they are over, speaking from experience. The CHS Talent Show was also a couple weeks ago, and I think that was a very big hit. The junior and senior class put that on, and there was a lot of good acts and some teacher judges as well. April break is coming up fast, and students are ready to conclude quarter 3. CHS has an event-filled March, but I think they're ready for the last couple months of school.
Great, thank you.
Thanks, y'all.
Any questions? Superintendent?
Great. I have a few reminders to start off my report. I just want to remind you, if you want to check your schedules, that we have a legislative forum on April 11th. I think it's marked on your calendar from 5:30 to 7:30, and we're going to use the community center to hold that. And we'll be working with the city, the mayor, and our president, Richards, coordinated this event, and we've invited legislators and various folks who make decisions around public education, and have it's really a conversation with them, and they'll be providing us with an update on the legislation and where it stands. As you know, it's the time when things get switched from the House to the Senate, and that will have been done, and we'll be able to have good conversation with them. So I look forward to it. Again, April 11th, 5:30 to 7:30 for you folks at the community center, which is nice. I want to remind folks, and I'm thinking of Finn across the way, and Sarah, Sophia, hopefully. But you know, the Rotary Club in Concord has a wonderful scholarship program. They give out awards to Concord High School students between $1,000 and $10,000. So I kind of want to remind everybody, if you're listening, or maybe there's an adult listening that will share this with your son or daughter, that these scholarships are available. And you know, with the cost of education and post-secondary education, these kinds of scholarships are really important. Clint Clauswell gave it to me last week, the flyer, and he's been very much a big part of the Rotary Club, and I just want to make sure that everyone's taking advantage of these scholarships. So Sophia, keep this in mind, and Finn, I hope you've applied for a few scholarships on the way. I suspected you probably did, but anyway, that's just a FYI. Another fun thing tonight, this is April. I think Sophia said it, spring has arrived, and so we want to be happy and joyful. Our school nurse at Concord High School, Renee D'Alessandro, was selected as New Hampshire's School Nurse of the Year.
That's
Pretty,
so
yeah,
exciting.
pretty special. You know, she's been with us since August of 2013. Oh, she's been with us 10 years, and she has just been a wonderful resource for the students. I guess it's the best way to put it. I got some information from some staff who had written some things, and they all talk about her ability to connect with students, her compassion, her empathy, eagerness to learn about their interests, and how they shine through all of the things that they're involved in. And the day that it was announced, we went up to her office, and there was a substitute nurse in there raving about, Renee was there. I didn't want you to think she was out. No, Renee was there, but as you know, there's 2 nurses at the high school. And the substitute nurse couldn't say enough wonderful things about Renee and the work that she does with our students at the high school. So I wanted to take a moment to recognize her, thank her. She will be present at the Eddies Awards in June. That's a big gathering, usually in Manchester, at the hotel in their convention center. And they give out the famous Bell Award and recognize folks who have been named in their various capacities. And Renee will be there representing school nurses and School Nurse of the Year, so that's pretty special. So I wanted to share that with you today. Let's see. The next thing I wanted to talk to you about was our grant management. Jack, can you put that up on the screen for me?
Yeah.
You know, I know you just finished budget, right? And I know you probably don't want to hear about budget, do you? I know.
We're not doing numbers tonight.
No numbers, and I promise
Cover
you,
your eyes.
I promise you, you won't have to vote on anything tonight. But you know, all through our deliberations over, what, 13 sessions we had, plus all the time that we did in preparation for the budget, and I know how hard you worked. I heard about do we really need to have a grant manager in the district? Is that a position that, because it's an administrative position, and is that a necessary for us to have in the district? And I wanted to share with you tonight the work that's done in the district and having this person. And I just want you to know the first number I want you to bring to your attention is the grant funding total of $33,771,129.27 of monies that she manages for you, I would say over the last 18 months. And that is, she earns her salary. And here's the best part of her salary. You don't pay a dime for it. Because all the grants that come through have this indirect, it's called indirect cost. And it's meant to help defray the cost of managing grants, because there's a lot. I mean, this is Ellen Desmond, your grant manager. I mean, certainly Ellen manages all of this, but we also have folks in Jack's department, and Ellen has a business clerk that helps her with all the numbers. But that all is defrayed by indirect costs. Concord is eligible for 2.4% of any grant that we call indirect. So it covers the costs for managing those grants. Just alone in the federal grants, those are entitlements. Those means we get those. We got those. We didn't have to, we have to do applications and we have to provide auditing and all that, but we didn't have to write a competitive grant. What's the total in that, Jack? Can you scroll down? So just in entitlements, the district over the last 18 months has received $20,242,337.75. So that's a lot that she manages. And by the way, she doesn't do that by herself, because all of these grants have to be a collaborative effort, right? You can't manage a grant without working with the building principals, without working with with teachers and with various departments. So just know that she does that. The second group of grants that we have received, these are competitive. That means we had to write an application, we had to apply for it, we had to sell it so that we would get the award. And over the last year, we have received $675,000. Jack, you were too quick for me. What is it? 663,902.37 in competitive grants. And you can see they range from robotics to SAFE grants that we receive, to the McKinney-Vento, which is our homeless grants, adult diploma. And we heard from Sue Farley tonight, running the 21st Century. Those are competitive. Those aren't just handed out. You have to show the reasons why you need those grants based on all kinds of data. So there's a second area that she works in. The third are totally non-government grants. If you scroll over, Jack, a little bit further, can we see that? Yeah. Those grants are just grants that exist around us. Healthy Beginnings grant, the Concord Trust, you know, where we get grants from them, Teachers' Right grants. She makes sure that they're included in all of our Munis system, where we keep track of our business. Chamber of Commerce, Also, we had full service community grant. That's our preschool grant, preschool development grant. So that one was for total, is that the?
One.
Yes,
Yep.
is that, yeah, I can't see.
193,
yeah.
257.
So again, those are grants that she manages that are really community-based. And the last one I want to show you, because this one's kind of exciting. These are applications in process. And you know, she's already moved one of the grants, because on Friday afternoon at about what, Jack, about 5 o'clock? We got word that we received the preschool development grant, which she's already moved over to the non-government competitive. We got a grant, we were notified that she had written a competitive grant for preschool, community preschool. That's out working in the community, working with families around preschool, helping our youngsters. You've heard from John, right? How that is such a huge need. We received notice that we received $157,000 for that grant, so that was pretty exciting. But in the pipeline, you can see what's up there in the applications. So we've already submitted several of these applications. The mental health one is all around systems of care, which is, those grants are huge. There's more grants on mental health and trauma, which you can see. There's one that we just found out about around bikes, and they'll purchase bikes for our middle schoolers to have a club where they can be out after school and enjoy some of the trails in Concord, along with some of the STEM, Stop the Violence, which is, I think, a DOJ, and Schoolyard Action. I'm not sure of that one, but all of these grants are in process right now. So she writes them, she gathers all the data, she meets with all the staff who would interact with that, and I'm telling you, it's godsend. I just thought that people really need to know that this position, although it's a new position and it's administrative in nature, it's an important position for our district, and kudos to Ellen Desmond and her department. Today, about this afternoon, I received, not only does she do this, but we have to do audits of every grant. We just finished Title II. I think you all have heard about Title II, the professional development grant. And this was just audited, and I got this report, this summary statement from the Department of Ed. Ellen, the submission of evidence for this monitoring was so well organized. Your process and procedures are well written and very well documented. It is clear you care deeply about your work and how you present it. Keep up the great work. It serves as an example for others.
Wow.
So, Ellen. Hey, Ellen. Hey, and by the way, Ellen's a Concord kid.
Yeah.
And she reminds us all the time that she is. So, and that's where her roots are, and we couldn't be happier.
That's awesome.
And so the last item I have, even though it's the next item on the agenda, I might as well slide right into it. The one that we have all been waiting for, to decide how we're going to finish up this school year. When it started snowing on Saturday afternoon, I said, "Come on now, no more." As you recall, we had 7 days that we needed to make up. And so I'm recommending, and I put a memo in here for you, if I can find it. I tagged it, but there we go. Our last day would be for our students June 21st, and our teachers would return on the 22nd, because as you know, the teachers have a 183-day contract, so June 22nd would bring them to that 183 days in their contract. So they would do work in their buildings with their principals. Many of them will have department and team meetings, and I'm sure clean their rooms and put all of the things away, because they have to do that every year.
Is that Monday?
No.
What is the 22nd?
The 21st is a Wednesday, and the 22nd is a Thursday. I did, if you go on the back side of my memo, you'll see this year's calendar. So if you want to check it out. And I listed all the requirements in my memo regarding what the expectation is for students. And I've heard that the weather is warm. I know that. But you know, we've been working hard. Our teachers have been working hard. Our administrators have been working hard to really try to close the gap. And every day, you probably hear this anytime I'm here, every day that we're with children is important. Whether it's the last week of school is a field day, whether it's math games, as our broken ground students demonstrated earlier this evening, or the time that they spend with their teachers, their peers, their folks in the food service, having their lunch, having their breakfast, I think is important. And so the June 21st represents 177 days of school for all of our students, which is what the original calendar was when we put it out when you voted on it last spring maybe. So anyway, I'd ask that you consider that recommendation.
Oh, we will vote on this after a public hearing, but does anyone have any questions for the superintendent?
You go first. Oh, thank you. As a newbie, these are really working tonight. Is there a reason that we're not going by the required hours as opposed to required days?
Well, if we do the hours, that means we finish on June 13th. Wrong calendar. Yeah, June 13th. And that only gives the youngsters 170 days. Yes, we meet the hours, but we had established the calendar to be 177 days.
Okay, all right.
That would still require that we work until the teacher contract is met at 183 days.
Okay.
Okay, so it says that the state requirement for elementary school students is 945 hours.
That's correct.
And by staying in school until the 21st, they'll have 1,091 hours.
That's correct.
That's a whole lot more than 3 days of hours.
It's 7 days.
I understand. So we're going to get out June 13th. We stay until the 16th and we make up 3 days, and now we have 3 days on the other side, or 4 days. We're still, even if we didn't have those 4 days, we're still way above the required hours.
I've always been above the requirement. Right. Even when you only did 177 days, you've always been, because your day is a little bit longer.
Right. So several years ago, we stopped sort of going by days. I can't remember the last time we were beyond Concord High's graduation in school. So I just would like to have some conversation around the fact that we don't go below required hours. We're still significantly above them. If we were to make up 3 of the 7 days missed and end school on Friday the 16th. That's just my thoughts.
Ms. Hastings?
I understand the need for time with teachers and how important that is. But as someone who's in one of the buildings for many years that has no humidity remediation, and knowing that most of our students, Runlet, Concord High, 2 of our elementary schools, do not have any humidity breaks at all, that it is beyond uncomfortable to the point of almost being dangerous, depending on the temperature. These are cylinder block buildings, and they're hot. We have classrooms with interior, classrooms with no windows, no circulation, no ventilation. I can't imagine what it's like on the second floors of Runlet and Concord High during that time. I have concerns for both our students and our staff by going beyond the 16th, I think. I understand it, and we'll do whatever the board thinks is the right thing, but I think it's something to be very conscious of in making sure we understand what we're asking people to do. This isn't just about your hours. This is about health and I don't know. We had all of the roofs replaced and all of the ventilation systems in place, I would feel very differently about this. But it's pretty bad in there some of those days.
Speaker?
If we were, regardless of the last day for the students, we are still asking, or we are required to have our teachers in the building until the 22nd, no matter what, right? So even if the students are out, we're still asking teachers to be in hot buildings, right? And
there's a difference. You're not wearing maybe school clothes. You may be wearing shorts and a t-shirt. You might be in a room that might have a portable air conditioner working together. There's different things that you could be doing. Okay. Although I do think that there's an argument for 2 of those days for staff were not staff's faults. You know, one was a school, one was the outage with the server, and the other was the election day, and that was agreed on by both the CEA, I believe, and the board. But again, I'm not sure. I think that was really staff's fault. That it wasn't a weather day. It was a day that school was called for reasons other than weather. So I just would keep that in mind too.
Mr. Weinberg?
I don't have too much to say. I could be amenable, and I know we're not voting on anything now, to the 19th as well. So to add like one more day. Yeah. I don't think the board should be making any decisions based off of any summer activities as well. I want to make that clear.
That is a point. Anyone else have any questions? Mr. Croto?
I feel a little odd thinking about our dedication to trying to get math coaches and more help for our kids, and then on another time thinking about taking away seat time. And I'm just not sure I'm on board with that. As Kathleen said, any amount of time with kids is worth time with kids. And I know that there can be some Junes that are horribly hot and others that are not so bad. So those are my thoughts.
Ms. Robinson?
Since it's very clear that comfort levels in the building, specifically for the ones that we have a need to upgrade their air circulation systems, is there anything that we can do to mitigate that discomfort? I mean, I'm looking at you. I mean, I know that's a big ask too. Like, what if we do? I mean, our summers aren't getting cooler. That's the reality, and our winters are getting shorter and more extreme. Our weather that we're experiencing is more extreme. I don't know. Is there anything that we could, if we are asking for extra days in really hot weather, what can be done outside of like keep all your windows open and run a fan? You know what I mean?
That's about it.
I mean,
that might be it.
Paulette's here. Runlet, we've tapped out every single available power to put window units in. But we'll continue to look and see what kind of.
Yeah.
We have to alternate rooms for
right.
Air conditioning.
Last year, we didn't even have hot days, so you're right. You know, last year we had no problems. The heat was never achieved at a level. I mean, I just want to say that if there was any way that a student was at risk because of high temperatures, then I'd have to send them home. I mean, that's very clear. There's no question about it. I wouldn't leave youngsters in rooms of high temperatures. I
I'm
hear
not
that.
suggesting that.
If they go out on the 16th or the 19th or whatever day you choose, they will not be home. They'll be outside playing. Just so you know. I mean, it's not. I get it. So I looked at everything, you know, trying to really focus on student learning, and that was I'm your instructional leader, right? That's my job, and it's important that that youngsters be given every opportunity, and our principals have been awesome about making accommodations. Paulette just mentioned it, where, you know, they'll open doors between rooms and run the air conditioners, mats brought in. all kinds of portable equipment if it got hot. So it's your decision. I'm making a recommendation. I hear you. I get all of that. I'm not.
Anyone else have? I'm sort of in Mr. Croto's camp that we've been, we're investing to help kids catch up and to lose 7 instructional days that we planned on. I think in the long term, if people don't want to go this late, then we need to look at the start of the year. And this year we had discussions about, can we have a 4-day week that first week, and we couldn't get agreement on that from staff. So, it's got to come from somewhere. We start giving up vacations, or, but otherwise we're going to be in this constant, we pretend we have a fuller year than we do. And I've also heard the building concerns, I think, are real, but I know that in the past the superintendent has called a heat day and closed school. And I've heard the argument of, well, kids won't be doing anything that week, it'll be parties, but that's just going to happen the week before then. So, it's going to happen. It's just maybe there'll be another week of more instruction before it does. But Mr. Weinberg,
Go ahead. I'll let the board talk, and then I just have one comment because it affects other things.
Okay, good to know.
Students, I'm throwing it at you. What do you think?
We're done.
That's okay.
For the last day?
For the last day.
I won't be there.
I was just I feel like Finn doesn't really get to comment.
Finn doesn't get to comment? All right, Finn, you don't get to comment.
I think I definitely understand the whole, if we have another week of school, like that partying is, or, celebrations at the end of the year is just going to be pushed back a week, and then another full week of full instructional. But I feel like the farther we go into like the middle of June again, I remember my freshman year, the heat was very bad, and last year it was, it was definitely not as bad, and I remember calling heat days, but I feel like the longer we push into the middle of June, the harder it's going to be for students to focus and want to actually be in school. But I do understand that we do have to meet that minimal amount of school days. But I also think that that HVAC day that did shut down and the voting day, I don't know. I know there's certain policies that I probably don't know about. I wasn't sure how those counted as snow days and like why that would be adding on to the end of the year if they weren't counted as emergency days or anything like that. Again, I have no idea the correct policies with that, but.
Sophia, the only time that an emergency day it would be if the governor declared a state of emergency, that day would not count, okay? But when there's an emergency in the community, it's like a snow day. So whether it was a change in the calendar or whether it was because we had the electrical issue with our computers, those have to be made up by students. But again, my issue is more about learning than the actual number of days and hours.
Thank you.
I don't want to forget about the support staff that will be affected by this. If you shorten the number of days, these are people that work on the clock. And every time we have those days that are lost, they're expecting them to be made up so that they can make the salaries that they're expecting. So every time this happens, this is something that comes up every negotiations. We try our best to mitigate it, but 7 days is a lot for them to lose. It's a week of pay. Week plus, because it's 5 plus 2 days. So I don't want to forget the support staff that without them, they ain't getting fed, they ain't getting driven to school, and a number of other support systems. So they are affected by this.
That's a good point.
Is there any more questions for the superintendent or staff, or should we open the public hearing? Did you raise your hand, Sophia?
Oh, no.
Okay. We now have a public comment period, 30 minutes on agenda items only. Public comment is limited to 5 minutes per person. Is there anyone who would like to make a public comment? Seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing.
That's why they were here.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. And then I will take a motion to set the last day of school.
I'll do it.
Ms. Higgins?
I move that we make up 3 of the 7 missed days, which would bring the last day of school to June 16th, which would still leave us well over the required number of hours by the state. That way we're not asking for 7 free days and we're splitting the difference. That's sort of my mindset. So that would be my motion.
I'll second the motion.
Seconded by Mr. Cotton. Any discussion?
I just want to acknowledge that, I'm a 21-year educator in this district, and I teach now at an online high school, and summer is tricky, even when they're on the computer in their air-conditioned homes, in their tank tops and jammies. Summer is summer. It gets to be at that time of year where minds go elsewhere. So both sides have merit. As a lifetime educator, I understand school. I also understand there are many ways to learn. We have an amazing community that offers a lot of programs for kids.
Ms. Robinson? And then Mr. Croto?
Jack, I'm really grateful that you made those comments, though. I am worried about our support staff. They are hourly. If they are not in the building, they're not earning. And they're some of our most critical community partners in our district. They're really valuable people. They deserve the opportunity to make up that pay that they lose for snow days. So I'm feeling like the 16th is too early. That being said, I don't feel like I would be ready to offer a date outside of the 16th, but I do feel like the 16th would be a little too early because of those folks. I want to be sure they're taken care of too.
Well, you can either move to amend the motion, or if the motion is defeated, you can offer another motion. Mr. Curto?
I'll withdraw, thank you.
Any other comments? Ms. Meeker?
Just since we're all letting each other know how we're feeling, taking a temperature read on the room. This is definitely a situation where, as a parent, I completely understand the desire to just run away at the end of the year and start our summer off. But I'm gonna rely on the recommendation of our administration. They do this every year. They know what they're asking. They understand the issues at hand, and so I will be voting no on this particular motion.
Anyone else? Okay. All those in favor?
Roll call.
Yes.
Roll call?
Yep. Ms. Welsh?
No.
Ms. Higgins?
Yes.
Mr. Weinberg?
No.
Mr. Cotton?
No.
Ms. Robinson?
No.
Ms. Meeker?
No.
Mr. Croto?
No.
And I will vote yes. So it fails 6-2.
Would anyone like to offer an alternative motion? Mr. Cotton?
I move that we accept the recommendation of the superintendent and that the last day of school be the 21st.
Wednesday, the 21st?
Right.
Is
I'll
there a
second it.
Seconded by Mr. Croto. Is there discussion? Seeing none, would people like a roll call vote again?
Yeah.
Okay. Ms. Hastings, when you are ready.
Who seconded that?
Mr.
Croto.
Croto.
Okay. Ms. Walsh?
Yes.
Ms. Higgins?
Well, I don't agree, but I agree in supporting the board, so I'll say yes.
Mr. Weinberg?
Yes.
Mr. Cotton?
Yes.
Ms. Robinson?
Yes.
Ms. Meeker?
Yes.
Mr. Croto?
Yes.
And I will vote nay.
Motion passes 7-1.
Thank you. I get it, I understand it, and we're very sensitive to it, and we keep a close eye and work with the principals, so as it gets difficult, they're really great about it. I think we heard about a volunteer that brings in popsicles and does a lot of things for the kids, so we'll keep a close eye on it. If we have to let them go early, we will, and
I'll make sure that I'll get a note out to the families this week and let them know. Okay? Thank you.
Any other? Mr. Dunn, you have a finance report for us.
Yeah. Let me make sure I didn't goof up and close this thing. Oh, no, okay. It's a little further down, okay. So as we get close to the end of the year, we will start being able to get a better idea projecting the end of the year on where things stand. Right now, in our salaries line, there's a couple little things that are in red, but once we evaluate, if you see the encumbrance line, what happens is for all the staff that are contracted, whatever their contractors are, we encumber those hours. So if you have transition where people are coming and going, we may be over encumbering. That's where you may see some negative numbers, or they may truly be over because the line is running for support. Like I'll tell you right now, I look at that call-in subline. I mean, we're at 22,000 encumbered with 3 months left. I expect that that's going to go over. But other than that, they look fine on the salary line. All the benefits, nothing pressing in the benefits line. We don't encumber all of that because, like if you look at New Hampshire retirement, for example, on the teacher and non-teacher, based on whether they're hourly, that's only pay as you go. I mean, you look at the teacher line right now, it says there's almost $3 million available in that line. Well, we have the balloon checks, and we don't pay the summer out for the teacher contracts until June. So none of that is encumbered yet. So once that gets paid out, they'll all adjust. Things I'll just go through to highlight that I don't know why they show up not in red here. Some are red, some are not. It may have been the way they printed it or copied it. But this here is in the professional services lines. This right now is our where a majority of the special ed is. But right now that's running negative to about $500,000. But you also have to look at the encumbrance line. The encumbrance right now is encumbering $737,000. So whenever a student, if they're placed out of district, or we do a contract for somebody, we encumber that, whatever that balance is going to be for a year. And so with comings and goings, it's just volatile. So they're going to have the over budget. We have a couple that have the ability to go over budget because we know it's just not practical to be able to do it. We keep an eye on it, and John and I talk, and Dawn and I. So that's where that sits. As we get into our favorite that we hope we don't see anymore, snow plowing. We had a little bit of snow this year, so right now that's running a little hot, 15 to the negative. And that includes plowing the district, salt and sanding the entire district, and anything over 8 inches, you get hit again. So that's a lot. And then the repairs and maintenance. The buildings have been under a lot of stress over the last 2 years because of COVID, and we're seeing that in the repair bills. Okay. If I go down, the next thing to highlight is the out of district. That right now we budgeted 752, and right now it's projected at 1.1 million, and we're anywhere from 250 to 500 hours a day, depending on what you need to get a kid to school. It's tough. As far as the utilities, they're running okay. We have ESSER picking up a fraction of that, so we'll recheck the encumbrances and see where we're at for the year, but I'm not overly concerned about that. And again, you do have a trust fund if we needed to do that, but I think we'll be fine. Other than that, I think everything else on the expense side is fine, and revenue is running okay. I just did see that the bills came in that the city entered into an agreement with one organization that's a nonprofit. So they send them separate invoices, and they do what's called a pilot, payment in lieu of taxes. So what happens is the city sends them the invoice, we get a copy of it, and they're expected to send us a check. And I know it's for more than 100,000 right now. So that's why you don't see that line being any actual, but those bills were just sent out last week. But other than that, we're getting ready to send out all the AV1, AV2s for all the CRTC revenue, billing all the districts for their portions as well as the state portions. But if you have any specific questions, I can answer those. But it appears most of the, we're still waiting on a little bit of money from the state as well as it relates to the equitable grant, because that's paid 3 or 4 times a year. So April will be the next one. And also that's all part of the statewide education tax as well. And other than that, I think that's it. Oh, now you're in the nomination.
Anyone have any questions for Mr. Dunn? Everyone done with numbers for a few weeks?
It's glazed over.
Yeah. Sorry.
We said no more numbers.
Monster.
That.
Oh, yeah. Seeing none, we'll move on to personnel.
So, Michelle, you want to do the CEA
We're
nominations?
going to start out with CEA, the teacher, professional staff nominations. The list is on pages 46 through 54. I don't think you want me to go through this line by line.
I think that would not be necessary.
Okay.
Just, would anyone like to move the CEA nominations?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved by Mr. Weinberg, second by Ms. Robinson. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The CEA nominations are approved. CAA nominations.
Okay, Kathleen is going to make this
I'm gonna do-
presentation, but I want to point out a typo that is my error. On the second page, under Abbott Downing, Anthony Blinn is not an associate principal, and Laura Landry is for their certification.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, so they're switched?
Yeah.
Okay.
So with that, I am pleased to present the slate for the 2023-24. Our building administrators, and they are all members of our CAA.
Any questions? Mr. Critta?
So, per some discussions we've had, how much liberty do you have, once these are approved, to move folks from one building to another, or do you not?
That's a great question. And I like to try to, if we do make any moves, that we do it in a way that is a voluntary move. That we, I believe that if people are, endeared to the move and feel that that's positive, although we've done in my career, when necessary, you have to use your resources that you think that will help you. So I do have that ability to do that, but I use it very carefully.
Thank you. That answers my question.
Any other questions or discussion? I'll take a motion to approve the CAA nominations.
So moved.
So moved by Ms. Higgins. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Croto. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes.
And the last.
Central Office Administrator.
Yeah, and I'm just blessed every day to be surrounded by some folks that just work so hard, and so it's with pleasure that I ask that I present the nomination, the slate, before you for the Central Office Administrators for the 2023-24 school year.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Robinson, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Higgins, is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Veteran salary scale.
I will turn that back to our HR director.
Okay, so we have out of, sorry, I'm getting to the correct page, my apologies.
It's okay.
Out of 36 eligible members to apply, we've the top 10 members who have requested to be placed on the veteran salary schedule. 1 through 10 is listed on your memo on the second half.
Does anyone have any questions?
Very grateful for their many years of service to the district.
Well, as you know, these folks will be with us for a little bit longer. 2 years. They're announcing, basically, this allows them to announce their retirement, and that the district, they have in their contract various language. And so we want to honor that language, of course. But they are announcing that, so if there's any budgetary requirements, then Jack can make sure that those funds are available and in the budget.
So when you look on that list, the top two, they have 1 more year. The bottom portion has 2 more years.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry, did I get ahead of you?
I was gonna do ESS separate, but it's,
Oh, sorry.
that's okay.
Does anyone want to make a motion to approve the veteran salary schedule and then the enhanced veteran salary scale together? E&F?
ENF.
So moved, Ms. Robinson?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Ms. Higgins. Any discussion?
No one else making motions.
So,
So, because I'm cheering.
I know.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes. Spring coach nominations, or just coach
Lastly.
nominations?
Yes, we have 1 spring coach for boys freshman lacrosse. He is a current Concord School District employee, Aaron Thompson, for the spring season.
Motion to approve? So moved. Moved by Mr. Weinberg. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Higgins. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
Look at us.
Look at us. Subcommittee reports.
Tight ship.
Superintendent Yarlett, are you going to update us on the anti-racism equity subcommittees?
Certainly, thank you very much. We had our first meeting with our community partners, educators, this last month, and it was great reconvening the group. We met from 3 to 5. We looked at kind of our vision statement, mission statement, which needs to be revised. We shared some common goals and went through a community exercise with NHLI coordinating and facilitating that. We got a lot accomplished, and we look forward to our next 2 meetings on April 17th and May 16th, 3 to 5. I think that this is a wonderful launching to this initiative, and there was a lot of great input from all persons involved, whether you were a teacher or an administrator or a board member or a community member. Persons' voices were very respectfully heard, and we got some work ahead of us to do.
Any questions, discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Weinberg, would you like to?
No updates.
No updates from the Sustainability Committee. Other business, monthly enrollment.
So in your packet, page 61 are the monthly enrollments. I think the one thing that's kind of jumps out at me is the number of preschool students at 125. And again, it's just it's just imploding really, and
Exploding.
Exploding, yeah.
Imploding would be-
Imploding, I don't want it to come in, exploding. And so
Avoid imploding.
I think that's the one that's probably jumps out the most. The rest of the numbers stayed pretty consistent. I want you to know, we did straighten out some numbers. We discovered in looking at Power School that some of the students at Career and Technical were marked, Deerfield students were marked as Concord students because they were in the program. So we made some adjustments. That's why you'll see, I think you saw a little shift in the numbers. We got those numbers straightened out. They were considered Concord numbers, but they weren't. They were Deerfield youngsters. So they finally figured out why those numbers weren't showing the way they should have. So we did get that squared away. So hopefully that won't happen again. But it had to do with the youngsters from Deerfield attending Career and Technical, because they're Concord students, right?
Mhm.
But they're not Concord residents, so that was the difference. So got that straightened out. Otherwise, it's pretty steady.
Any questions? Proposed calendar, Ms. Higgins, Hastings, I'm sorry.
I'm looking at the totals from June to April, and is that a normal amount of students leaving?
Where are you? Where are you?
I'm looking at the enrollment, the
Page.
monthly enrollment, page 61.
Yep.
And Abbott Downing started with 353 and is now at 344. And then I'm looking at Kristen McAuliffe, who looks like they've lost 15 students this year. Is that all normal? Is that pretty typical?
It's
hard to tell.
It's hard to tell,
Yeah.
really. There's a lot of one of the issues in Concord, and I think you all know this, is housing. And we've had a number of folks say to us that they couldn't find affordable housing, and especially in the rental market. So we've seen folks have to leave, and they've told us that. We saw a slight uptick in some homeschoolers, and I think sometimes you see that when, especially at the high school, with all the anxieties and depression, we've seen some of that mental health issues take its toll on some of our students. So it is a variety of reasons, Brenda, why we see that fluctuate.
And Runlet, is that, that looks like almost 50 students, is that?
Right, the same thing there. We've seen a number of students who have withdrawn homeschool. We had a few attend to VLEX, the online learning. And again, we're seeing youngsters that are really just anxieties that have really shown in them struggling to be in attendance every day in school, and the families are making the decision to either homeschool or find alternatives.
Okay, thank you.
And it's not really alternative schools. I have to say that. I don't see it like we get requests for records, to move to an. We're not necessarily seeing that unless it's a rental issue or, housing issue. But we don't.
Do we follow up with that at all?
Well, we all,
try.
well, I will say we do this in the office. When we get a call around homeschool or anything change like that, sometimes we'll just get a letter or we'll get a message or an email. I have Bridget follow up, and she has conversation with the families.
Okay.
Why, what's, what, is there something we can do, better and meet your needs? But,
Okay.
and then sometimes, people are reticent about sharing, so.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Weinberg?
For the homeschooling notifications, that it says 108 since 2020 of July, does that just mean anyone that's notified us? Or is that number accurate, 108, or is it higher, is it lower?
It's really hard to know, because in homeschool language, they don't have to provide us anything except to let us know that they're homeschooling, and then we never hear from them again. We don't know if they're still here, whether they're have an alternative schooling because they have no expectation to let us be to inform us about where they're at. The homeschooling law in New Hampshire is wide open.
Yes, it is.
No, it didn't. We used to have assessments. We used to have oversight with curriculum, but that no longer exists.
That a state?
That's
State
state law.
Sure is.
And I've seen when the Department of Ed, when I was working there, I saw Commissioner Barry try to address it when she was commissioner, and the result was not good. It was overwhelmingly, defeated anything that she tried to tighten it up. They just feel that the families should have the flexibility to make those decisions.
Proposed calendar of meetings.
You're back to normal, your schedule, your 2 meetings a week for your committees, so we'll get back to that this month. Obviously on Wednesday, we have a capital facilities. Following week, policy, we haven't had policy for a couple of months, so we have, I know that Karen Fisher Anderson reached out to you, Bob, to get ready for that. Hopefully we'll have negotiations in finance on the 12th, and hopefully we'll have some good news about negotiations, but we're still in that process. Following week, we have executive committee, city and community relations. Is that a good date, John?
Well, the week before we have the legislative breakfast as well, that needs to be on here.
Yeah, I must have missed that.
Breakfast?
11, on
No,
the
5.
11th.
Legislative forum evening, yes.
Yeah.
What day was that?
5:30 to 7:30 on Tuesday, the 11th.
The 11th, yep.
It's a good time for breakfast.
It's
It's
math
It's actually
night
a
at
forum.
Breakfast for dinner is one of my
Yeah,
faves. It's the only time.
I don't think they're gonna do breakfast foods. They are probably gonna do more hors d'oeuvre kinds of cheese and crackers and that. We've been working with the mayor's office to set that up, so.
Nice.
It's not a breakfast, but. And then back on the 19th, instructional committee, and I think that works. I think we heard Sophia talk about the April vacation coming up, is that right? So there it is, for you, the 24th to the 28th. We'll be back with our students on the 1st of May, and you have a school board meeting that night, and then capital facilities, kind of the same schedule, communication, policy, negotiations. The 15th will be instructional. We're moving instructional to Monday evening, which is a better night for the committee. The 22nd is executive committee and city and community. I want to bring your attention to the 24th. Former Supreme Court Justice, New Hampshire Supreme Court Justice, John Broderick will be here to do an evening presentation for families and students. We'll get more details on that. He's also indicated that he would like to come back and work with our high school and our middle school students. So he'll do the evening one for families and return again for the middle school and the high school. So kind of excited, and of course celebrating Memorial Day on the 29th. There will be no school on that day.
Any questions? Superintendent, is instructional supposed to be at 5 p.m. on the 19th as opposed to 5:30?
Yes.
Yes, it is. Okay.
Right, is that right? Yes.
I'm looking to Kim. Yeah,
Yep,
okay.
we had to move it from
All right,
from a Monday night, so.
okay.
Okay.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yes.
It's not on our calendar, but John, you have a family night coming up.
I do, Wednesday night.
Wednesday at ADS. I
Wednesday
think-
night, part of our Parent and Community Connection, PC3 meeting. We've been going around to each building this year and meeting with families in their respective buildings. And it's Abbott Downing's turn. Abbott Downing will be hosting an event from 5:30 to 7 this Wednesday night.
I'll have to follow up just because I think I got a graphic, like an invitation that said it was on Thursday. So I'll just have, I think that's what it said, but I'll check in with you.
We also had, I think, maybe it was Mr. Croto today, some communication about math family math nights. Is that what I heard from you today?
Well,
And I wanted
that was
Kim
in
to share.
response to an email that we received about ideas
Yeah.
and,
Uh-huh.
yeah, I think the Broken Ground kids ought to be doing all of the math instructional production and I only say that half kiddingly. I mean,
Yeah.
I just thought that we were missing out on a lot of math coaches by our parents not always knowing exactly how our teachers are teaching math. So we lose out on those extra coaching times.
Kim, can you talk to that, speak to that, please?
About the math nights?
Yeah.
So this week we have two next, at two different buildings. Next week we have 3 family math nights at 3 of the buildings. And the following week we have Runlet Middle School math night. It's open to parents, it's well publicized, and it's just fun games and activities for parents to look at the ways that their children are being instructed.
So it was ironical that you sent
How-
that
how
note today.
could- How perfect is that?
I think we're our second public comment period, which is on any issue not restricted to agenda items. Same rules apply in terms of time limits. Does anyone have any comment on any issue related to the school district? Yeah, I know.
What?
We approved it too.
Should have skipped over that. Hearing none, the second public comment period is closed. Superintendent, do we need a non-public session?
Yes, we do, under RSA 91A3 C. I'd like to move into non-public.
C and A?
A.
Do you need A as well as C? A is personnel, C is matters which discuss in public with like.
Both A and C.
Okay, and anything on D, which is also on this list?
No, we're gonna wait and have that on Wednesday night when we have our capital facilities meeting.
Okay, great. So
Yeah.
can I get a motion to move into non-public session under 91A3 sections A, which is related to public employees, and section C, which is related to matters which if discussed in public would likely adversely affect the reputation of any person other than a member of the public body itself.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Robinson, seconded by Mr. Weinberg. We take a roll call vote on this.
We do? Okay. Ms. Walsh?
Yes.
Ms. Higgins?
Yes.
Mr. Weinberg?
Yes.
Mr. Cotton?
Yes.
Ms. Robinson?
Yes.
Ms. Meeker?
Yes.
Mr. Croto?
Yes.
And I vote yes.
Superintendent, we don't anticipate having any business after this?
No, I don't.
All right, so for those who are watching at home, we will go into non-public session. We expect to just come back and adjourn, so at this point, we will end the public broadcasting of the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.